What's up guys, Syiler here, and we are back on the Warlords of Draenor beta taking a look at Kargath Bladefist, one of the first encounters you'll come across in Highmaul, and this is on heroic difficulty, so it isn't, the hardest difficulty you could do, which would be mythic, but it still gives you a good idea of how difficult the encounter is, and what's really going on in terms of like the basic mechanics. Now the fight doesn't really have a phase 2, it's more of like a few abilities repeated. There is essentially like a small transition where you get thrown into the crowd, you have to deal with some mechanics up there, but only half of your raid gets put into the crowd anyway, and the rest will still be dealing with like the basic mechanics. And it's literally rinse and repeat of a few mechanics until you kill him. Now that's to be expected for an early on boss, so there's no like crazy advance like at 20% he kills everyone, there's nothing like that. So just basic mechanics basically. In terms of when he's in the arena, he's going to do a few abilities. One is you'll see these pits open. If you fall into those pits, you die horribly. I know, I've done it. So avoid doing that. You want to not fall into the pit and die. He'll do an ability called Chain Hurl, which you can see right now. He'll throw you into the crowd, and that'll happen like a minute or so into the fight. He'll throw you into the crowd, and what you need to do up there is deal with as many mobs as physically possible. In terms of when you're in the arena, he'll do an ability called Impale, which will basically impale the tank and cause them to take more damage from the next impale. So that's a basic tank swap. As soon as he does impale, you want your off tank to taunt, and you want to make sure you are taunting for the chain hurl before then, so that the other tank doesn't get thrown in before you get a chance to taunt off. Another ability he's going to do is called Berserker Rush, which you just seen right there. He'll fixate on a ranged target, he'll chase them, and he'll basically run at them until they die. Anyone caught in the way will take like a cleave damage, and it'll pretty much kill you in a couple of hits. The way you deal with that mechanic is you stand between, if you're being chased, you stand between him and one of these flame pillars. So for example, you want to stand behind the flame pillar, he'll be running at you, and he'll have to run through the flame pillar to get to you. As soon as he hits the flame pillar, he'll basically get stunned by it, he'll make the flame pillar go down, and he'll, continue as normal. Now, we've just been thrown into the arena, into the crowd, sorry, and there's two mobs that you want to prioritize while up here. The Drunken Bile Slingers, and also the Iron Bombers. Those basically do abilities that affect the actual arena, like how much damage you take and stuff like that. So you want to deal with it as many as possible. And as you've seen, our tank didn't really pull that many. Basically, you want to pull as much as you can physically handle while you're up there. You want to kill off as much stuff as possible, because the more stuff that's up, the more stuff that's going to be going into the arena. The Drunken Ogres, they throw a brew into the arena, which you can see now is like the green pool, and it'll stay there for 30 seconds and damage anyone who walks through it. So that becomes a bit of a problem when you've got more of those Drunken Ogres up. And the Iron Bombers will target players and throw bombs at them, which deals a decent chunk of damage. So eventually you're going to get overrun if you don't deal with enough of them. Now this time round, I get thrown up with my guild tank. Well, he's not a guild tank, but a guild member, and he, deals with it much better. He runs in, he pulls as many mobs as, he possibly can handle, and that's basically the best way to deal with it. Now, when you're in the actual crowd, the grunts don't really do anything. They, they'll do a bit of damage and slow you. The Drunken Ogres, they'll do a frontal cone stun, so you want to make sure you've got him faced away from the rest of the raid. And the Iron Bombers will put down a bomb that detonates after a couple of seconds, and it does like an AoE damage. So you want to be moving away from that as soon as you see that put down. You'll see it by like a little timer pops up above it, and you want to move away from that basically. Now also, as you would have just seen, our tank is now tanking Kargath Bladefist right next to one of the flame pillars, and the ranged is stood on the opposite side of the flame pillar. That's because as soon as he does his Berserker Rush, he'll instantly run at the flame pillar basically and end his Berserker Rush. The final ability that we've not mentioned is Blade Dance, and this basically causes him to target a ranged pillar. He'll kind of dash towards them and deal damage to that player, and also like splash damage around that player. So basically just be spread out for that far enough that you're not getting hit by the splash damage, and you should be perfectly fine. Just avoids, to stop people just grouping up basically. This time around I'm back with the Druid tank, so I prefer, I help him out a little bit. I start pulling some mobs just to make sure we get as many as possible, because once again he was trying to pull one at a time, and it's really not how you want to handle that mechanic. Otherwise you're just going to get overrun in the arena. As you can see now, we're getting quite a few of those brews down in the arena, so we definitely needed to handle more of the ogres. But that's pretty much it. It's literally rinse and repeat of, you know, deal with the impale by tank swapping, be a little bit spread out for the blade dance, kite him into a flame pillar for the berserker rush, so have your range like position sort of behind a flame pillar. Random people get thrown into the arena, into the sort of crowd. You can't really deal with that. And that is pretty much it. Just repeat those mechanics and you'll be perfectly fine. Isn't too, you know, difficult as a fight, as I mentioned before, but is definitely a fun fight to deal with. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this look at Kargath Bladefist. Look out for more videos coming soon. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.